Hey, it's Angie Nguyen, and today let's talk Tet food, okay? That's the Vietnamese Lunar New Year. And so what we celebrate with is a lot of food. And one of the most important foods is a sticky rice cake. And they're either square-shaped, called Banh Chung, or cylindrical shaped, called Banh Tét. And my family makes the square ones, and we keep them frozen. A lot of people buy them. Sometimes you get gifted these sticky rice cakes because they are a must-have during the new year. So today what I'm going to do is refresh one that's been in my freezer for several months. And I'm showing this to you because whether or not you make them, or you're gifted one, or you are buying them, you want to bring it back to its most freshest form so that you can really understand the beauty of one of Vietnam's favorite foods. So let's get going. So the first thing you're going to do is take your sticky rice cake and unwrap it from whatever that you've got. Mine's got ribbon and plastic wrap, so I'm just going to unwrap it and take everything off except for the leaves. And you can see here, these are wrapped with some bamboo leaf for pretty measure. And then I'm going to wrap it in foil. Underneath the bamboo is banana leaves too. So wrap it up in foil like a gift box. Let's make sure the foil stays in place by tying it up in some butcher's twine. You can do a simple tie or do a little something fancier like this that looks a little bit more traditional. And you can see how I am getting it into sort of a tic-tac-toe kind of pattern there. You don't have to tie it really tight in the back because the rice grains are going to expand in the pot. So there you have it. I've got a 5-quart pot here because I know that the cake will fit in there nicely. And I filled it up halfway with water, and I'm just going to put it in. The water doesn't have to be boiling. And you want, about a good knuckles worth of water above the cake, because that way you know that there's plenty and you don't have to replenish it. So crank up the heat, and then we'll bring this to a boil, and we'll boil it for a total of 30 minutes. So the Tet sticky rice cake finished its boiling. I turned off the heat and let it sit there to just, chill out. Not really chill out, but for the water to settle down. And then I'm just going to remove it from the pot using my tongs, and then transfer it over to a baking sheet. Once that it's here, I'm going to let it sit for 30 minutes, but with a weight on it. So I have a large can of tomatoes, and that's just the perfect amount of weight to put on a cake of this size. And what it does is it's going to compress the rice grains down and the filling so that everything will stick together, so that they won't fall apart once the cake is opened up. So let this sit for about 30 minutes, and then you can open it up, or you can eat it, and you can also leave it around for like 10 to 12 hours. But I'm going to open it up and show you how to cut it into perfectly beautiful wedges. So now what you're going to do is undo the cake that you've reboiled and refreshed and let cool. So untie the string, and then you want to start removing the foil. Remove the foil, and you've got the leaves there. And because the way my family wraps our Banh Chung, we have bamboo leaves, which I remove and set aside. Don't throw them away because you may need them. Well, I reuse them. So now we're down to the banana leaves. Be a little patient because these are sticky, and they'll likely fray as you're removing them, but just be a little patient and just remove it, one layer at a time. And as you're doing this, you'll smell the wonderful grassiness. That's the banana leaf fragrance. And look how beautifully stained jade green the rice grains are from the bamboo. That's part of the magic. Now, to get perfect wedges that doesn't cheat anybody out of nice Banh Chung, you're going to use string. And in Vietnam, they use parts of plants, but I use very fine linen string. Some people use unflavored dental floss. That'll work too. So do an asterisk, so 4 pieces of string, sort of like halfway down. You're pulling them down both ends there of each piece of string. And then once you get them, far down enough, reuse some leaves that you got sitting around. Put your hand on top and pretend it's like a cake. It is a cake, right? Flip it over. So now you've got the backside that looks kind of like a funny octopus, and remove the banana leaves and set them aside. And once again, it's just really beautiful, and whatever little crenellations you got, just work with it. It's the way that the cake is. Now start pulling up the string like so and crossing them over so that you approach the center. Sorry, my hair has gotten in the way there. And as you get towards the top, you're going to have to pull a little bit. So sometimes when the string gets stuck, like it did here on some meat in the center, you just have to use a knife and just like cut it and, lift out the string. Now, I don't like the look of that side, so I'm going to try to flip it over. So I'm going to replace some of the leaves there to use as a way to flip the cake over, and be very, very careful in doing this. I would not suggest doing this all the time, but here we go. All right, so let's remove the cake. Some of the wedges are just going to start falling apart because the rice is very, very soft. And there you have it, Banh Chung cut into beautiful little wedges. So that's my little cheat for refreshing the Banh Chung Tet sticky rice cake that's eaten during Vietnamese Lunar New Year. So whether you buy yours or you get one as a gift or you thaw one, you know what? You can bring it back to life and enjoy it, and it's full glory, and really, celebrate Tet in all of its wonderful, wonderful food pleasures. I hope that you found this informative and fun. There's a lot more going on at vietwellkitchen.com, so hang out with me over there too.